Miami, Florida. Lucille Zaldibar was awakened by the ringing of her phone. On the other end was Christian Pacheco, her daughter's fiancé. The news he delivered was alarming. Lucille's daughter, Lily Aramburo, known affectionately as Lily, had been missing since the previous night. Christian informed Lucille that Lily had walked out of their shared condo around 2 a.m., leaving behind all her personal belongings, her wallet, keys, and even her shoes. He explained that he had just filed a missing persons report with the Miami-Dade police and wanted to give Lucille advance notice. One might expect such news to send any mother into a panic, but Lucille's initial reaction was not one of immediate concern. Lily was 23 years old, an adult capable of making her own decisions. Moreover, Lucille was well aware of the tumultuous nature of Lily and Christian's relationship. Their arguments were frequent, and the police had been called to their condo on multiple occasions. Given this context, Lucille's first thought was that there had likely been another argument, and Lily had simply walked out to cool off. She even considered the possibility that Christian's decision to report Lily as missing could be an act of retaliation or an exaggeration of the situation. Perhaps, Lucille thought, Lily was simply refusing to communicate with Christian. At this point, Lucille hadn't even attempted to contact Lily herself, so there was a chance that her daughter wasn't truly missing at all. This measured response from Lucille was rooted in past experiences. According to an episode of the television show Disappeared titled Midnight Walk, there had been instances in the past when Lily would leave home for days at a time without contacting her family or friends. Lily's history of substance abuse, which began in her high school years, often played a role in these previous disappearances. In fact, Lily had just left a rehabilitation facility a few days prior after failing a drug test. Considering all these factors, Lucille expected that Lily would likely reappear within a day or two, and everything would return to normal. However, as the next few days passed without any word from Lily, Lucille's concern began to grow. While Lily had a history of brief disappearances, she had recently been very diligent about maintaining contact with her mother. This was particularly important because Lucille had custody of Lily's 9-month-old son. Lily had lost custody when she entered rehab, but she had been in almost daily contact with her mother and son up until the day she went missing. Another aspect that struck Lucille as odd was Christian's lack of communication following his initial call. If he was worried enough to file a missing persons report with the police, one would expect him to check in regularly with Lucille to see if she had heard from Lily. The silence from Christian over those first few days became increasingly troubling to Lucille. Frustrated by the lack of information, Lucille decided to take matters into her own hands. She resolved to speak with Christian in person to gather more details about the night Lily disappeared. Accompanied by one of Lily's friends, Janet, Lucille went to Christian's condo. When they knocked on the door, they were greeted by a visibly surprised Christian. His reaction was understandable, given that they had arrived unannounced. However, both Lucille and Janet immediately noticed that Christian seemed guarded, and his behavior struck them as odd. According to Janet's account in the Disappeared episode, Christian appeared very, very nervous and very energetic. He avoided eye contact and moved around the condo, cleaning frantically while they were there. While acknowledging that different people react to stressful situations in various ways, Lucille and Janet couldn't shake the feeling that Christian wasn't behaving as one might expect the fiancé of a missing woman to act. When asked to recount the events of the day Lily went missing, Christian admitted that both he and Lily had been under the influence of drugs at the time. Despite this, he claimed to remember the sequence of events clearly. According to Christian, he and Lily had gone to purchase drugs earlier that day. They returned to their condo accompanied by two friends, identified as E.J. and Kelly. Christian recounted that at some point during the evening or early morning hours, Kelly left the living room to lie down in Christian and Lily's bedroom. This action, Christian claimed, greatly upset Lily. She allegedly accused Christian of wanting to be with Kelly instead of her, and demanded to know if there was something going on between them. Christian said he denied the accusation and went to ask Kelly to leave their bedroom in an attempt to appease Lily. However, when he returned, Lily had already walked out the front door. At the time, Christian claimed he thought Lily was just stepping out briefly to calm down after their argument. But as hours passed with no sign of her, he became increasingly worried. In his account to Lucille and Janet, Christian mentioned a peculiar detail. He said that when he searched the condo, he noticed that a few bungee cords were missing. Christian speculated that Lily might have taken them with her when she left. This detail struck both Lucille and Janet as odd. The specificity of noticing missing bungee cords in such a situation seemed strange, and the assumption that Lily would have taken them in the middle of the night was even more perplexing. Christian attempted to explain his concern about the missing bungee cords by revealing some information about Lily's mental health that Lucille was not fully aware of. He said that Lily had recently been struggling with her mental health and had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depression. Although she had been prescribed medications to manage these conditions, Christian claimed that Lily had stopped taking them. Moreover, Christian disclosed that just a few weeks prior, Lily had attempted to take her own life. He said that on that occasion, Lily had been heavily intoxicated, and he had managed to intervene and stop her. Christian suggested that when he noticed the missing bungee cords, he feared Lily might have taken them with the intention of harming herself. This information came as a shock to Lucille. While she was aware that Lily had been going through a difficult time recently, she had no knowledge of the suicide attempt or that Lily had stopped taking her medication. Despite this new context, both Lucille and Janet were skeptical of the idea that Lily would harm herself and leave her son behind. They knew how much Lily adored her baby and how she was looking forward to regaining custody in the future. As days turned into weeks with no sign of Lily, Lucille's worry intensified. The lack of communication from Christian during this time was particularly frustrating. Lucille decided to take action and began searching for Lily on her own. She started by visiting all the places where she knew Lily used to purchase drugs. When these searches yielded no results, Lucille expanded her efforts, searching parks and bus stops, and driving up and down streets looking for any sign of her daughter. Despite Lucille's tireless efforts, there was no trace of Lily to be found. As weeks stretched into months with no word from Lily, both Lucille and Janet began to fear that something truly terrible might have happened to her. However, just as they were starting to lose hope, Lucille received an unexpected call from Christian. Christian told Lucille that two of his friends had just called him, claiming they had spotted Lily alive and well in downtown Miami. This was the first time Lucille had heard from Christian since her visit to the condo with Janet. Overjoyed at the prospect of a concrete lead, Lucille immediately contacted one of the friends who allegedly saw Lily. She pressed for details, asking if they were absolutely certain it was Lily they had seen and if they had spoken to her. The friend assured Lucille that they were 100% sure it was Lily and that they had even talked to her. Energized by this potential sighting, Lucille enlisted Janet's help to search the downtown area. They spent days combing the streets, but despite their efforts, they found no trace of Lily. It's unclear whether this information was passed on to the police, as details about the official investigation during this period are scarce. The sighting was mentioned in an article by Francisco Alvarado for the Miami New Times, suggesting that the information did eventually reach law enforcement, though it's uncertain what, if any, action was taken based on this lead. As months passed with no further developments, Lucille and Janet's frustration with the lack of progress in the case grew. They felt there was a concerning lack of communication from the police about the status of the investigation. From their perspective, it seemed as though little effort was being made to find Lily. As far as they knew, the initial search of the area around the condo back in June was the only concrete action taken to locate her. Lucille and Janet were particularly dismayed that the police hadn't seemed to consider Christian as a potential suspect. To them, his behavior had been suspicious from the outset. His lack of communication with Lily's family and his apparent disinterest in helping with the search led Lucille to believe that he must know more than he was revealing. The more Lucille reflected on Christian's initial call reporting Lily missing, the more unsettling it seemed. She questioned why someone would immediately file a missing persons report without first reaching out to other friends or family members to see if they had heard from the person or knew of their whereabouts. This seemed like a natural first step before involving the authorities. Christian later addressed this point in an interview for the Disappeared episode. He claimed that he thought either Kelly or E.J. had already called Lucille to ask if she had heard from Lily. In his mind, he believed all bases had been covered. He also stated that he had attempted to file a missing persons report earlier but was told he needed to wait at least 24 to 48 hours. Frustrated by the perceived lack of action from law enforcement, Janet decided to launch a social media campaign in September 2008 to raise awareness about Lily's disappearance. She created a blog, set up a Twitter account, and established a Facebook page to share information and encourage people to keep an eye out for Lily. This social media campaign caught the attention of a reporter who interviewed Janet and Lucille for an article in the Miami New Times. The resulting piece shed light on significant shortcomings in the police investigation. According to the article, when Lily was initially reported missing, her case file sat untouched on the lead investigator's desk for 2 weeks while he was on vacation. No action was taken to search for her until his return. The article also revealed that the police had never formally interviewed Christian or any of the others who were present in the condo on the night Lily disappeared. Furthermore, when Lily's information was finally listed on the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's missing persons website, crucial details such as her height were incorrectly reported. The publication of this article marked a turning point in Lily's case. The public backlash that ensued after people learned about the minimal efforts made to find Lily finally pushed the police to renew their search efforts. It was at this point that they brought Christian in for a polygraph test. To Lucille's surprise, she was informed that Christian had passed the test. The article also caught the attention of 2 private investigators, Joe Carrillo and Anna Lanisep, who offered their services pro bono. Joe and Anna agreed that the police hadn't done nearly enough to find Lily and began their own investigation. They started by working to establish a detailed timeline of the night Lily disappeared and verifying people's stories. One of their primary goals was to speak with E.J. and Kelly to see if their accounts aligned with Christian's story. While they were unable to contact E.J., they did manage to track down Kelly. Her account of the events largely corroborated Christian's version. When asked if she had any idea where Lily might have gone, Kelly mentioned a specific house known to be a hub for various illegal activities, including drug sales and sex work. Although there was no evidence directly linking Lily to this location, the investigators felt it was worth looking into. Their inquiry revealed that one of the individuals associated with the house had an extensive violent criminal history, including a conviction for second-degree murder. Joe and Anna managed to contact the owner of the house, explaining that they weren't police but believed something significant, possibly even a murder, might have occurred there. The owner of the house was unwilling to provide any information. Nevertheless, Joe and Anna passed their findings about the house to the police, who subsequently investigated the property. However, no evidence connecting the location to Lily's disappearance was found. After this initial surge of activity sparked by the newspaper article, momentum in the case once again slowed. Lucille and Janet soon found themselves back in the frustrating position of feeling ignored by the police. They continued their social media campaign, but with 2 years having passed without any sign of Lily, they were growing desperate. In November 2009, Lucille and Janet decided to take extreme action to bring public attention back to the case. They embarked on a week-long public hunger strike in downtown Miami, distributing flyers and engaging with passersby about Lily's case. Their efforts garnered coverage from several Spanish-speaking media outlets, but unfortunately, no substantial leads or useful information emerged from this initiative. Lily's case remained cold for another year before a significant development occurred. Ray Holdley, a Miami-Dade homicide detective, learned about Lily's disappearance and decided to take on the case personally. He agreed that the investigation to date had been inadequate and began by thoroughly reviewing all the information the police had collected over the previous 3 years. Detective Holdley noted that while there was a substantial amount of information in the case file, much of it didn't appear to have been verified. He also found Christian's account in the initial police report to be problematic. Even if Lily had been under the influence when she left, Holdley found it odd that she would leave without any personal belongings or even her shoes, yet allegedly take bungee cords with her. However, the most surprising discovery Detective Holdley made came when he reviewed the results of Christian's polygraph test. Contrary to what had been reported, Christian had actually failed the test. This revelation was shocking and frustrating, as everyone involved in the case over the past few years, from the private investigators to Lucille, and even the former lead investigator, had been operating under the false assumption that Christian had passed the test. The polygraph results showed that deception was detected when the examiner asked Christian, "Do you know what happened to Lily?" To which Christian had responded, "No." This crucial piece of information had somehow been overlooked or misreported, casting the entire investigation in a new light. Armed with this new information, Detective Holdley felt compelled to start the investigation from scratch. He reasoned that if such a crucial detail had been missed, there could be other important pieces of evidence that were either incorrect or missing entirely. Holdley began by conducting another thorough search of the areas surrounding the condo. He brought in dive teams to search a nearby canal, used cadaver dogs to search on land, and employed helicopters for aerial searches of previously unexplored areas. Despite these extensive efforts, no signs of Lily were found. The absence of any physical evidence reinforced Detective Holdley's belief, shared by Lucille and Janet, that Lily likely didn't leave with the intention of harming herself. If that had been the case, they reasoned, some trace of her would likely have been found by now. Holdley's next step was to verify the reported sighting of Lily in downtown Miami. He learned that 2 of Christian's friends, Dario and Elvis, had claimed to have seen Lily after her disappearance. Holdley managed to locate Dario, who still lived in the Miami area. When questioned about the sighting, Dario denied having seen Lily at all after her disappearance. A few days later, Holdley made contact with Elvis, who also denied having seen Lily since her disappearance in 2007. When pressed for an explanation for the false report, Elvis revealed that he had lied about seeing Lily because Christian had told him it would make Lucille feel better and worry less. This revelation turned Detective Holdley's full attention to Christian. He suspected that Christian had instructed the 2 men to lie in order to deflect suspicion away from himself, suggesting he might have something to hide. Finally, after 3 years, Christian was brought in for a formal interview. During the interview, Detective Holdley confronted Christian about the implausibility of Lily walking out of the condo with nothing but a few bungee cords and not returning. Christian attempted to reiterate his concern for Lily's safety, citing her prior suicide attempt. However, as Christian described these events, Holdley noticed a significant discrepancy in his story. In his initial account to Lucille, Christian had said that Lily had attempted to hang herself with one of his ties. Now, in this interview, he claimed that Lily had used a bungee cord. To Detective Holdley, this change in detail was highly significant. While he acknowledged that memories of traumatic events can sometimes be unclear, he didn't believe such a specific detail would be easily forgotten or confused, especially given the connection to the allegedly missing bungee cords on the night of Lily's disappearance. This inconsistency led Holdley to suspect that Christian might have fabricated the entire suicide attempt story to mislead the investigation. He asked Christian to take another polygraph test, which, according to a CBS News article, Christian failed once again. Following Christian's failure of the second polygraph test, the police conducted another search of a specific wooded area near the condo. The reasons for focusing on this particular location were not made clear, and if anything was found during the search, it has never been made public. Unfortunately, this is where the trail of Lily's case goes cold, despite the renewed efforts and the suspicious circumstances surrounding Christian's statements. No arrest has ever been made in connection with Lily's disappearance. Even though Christian has been arrested for several drug charges since 2007, he has never been officially named as a person of interest in Lily's case. Detective Holdley's exact theories about what might have happened to Lily have not been made public. While he believes that something occurred at the condo, as opposed to Lily meeting with foul play after leaving on her own, he has not shared any specific hypotheses about what transpired that night or who might have been involved. The case of Lily Aramburo raises many troubling questions about the initial handling of missing persons cases, especially those involving individuals with a history of substance abuse. The delay in beginning the investigation, the misreporting of crucial information like the polygraph results, and the apparent lack of thorough follow-up on leads all point to systemic issues in how such cases are managed. It's important to consider the various possibilities of what might have happened to Lily. While the focus of the investigation seemed to center on events at the condo, there's always the slim chance that Lily did leave on her own and met with foul play afterwards. The idea that someone could be snatched off the street is a terrifying one, but it's a reality that can't be completely discounted. This possibility is particularly concerning given the context of Miami's reputation as a hub for human trafficking. According to the Women's Fund, an organization dedicated to advocating for and supporting women in Miami-Dade County, Miami is a top city in Florida for human trafficking. While this doesn't necessarily mean Lily was a victim of trafficking, it does highlight the vulnerabilities that someone in her situation might face. If Lily did leave the condo on her own, perhaps following an argument with Christian, she would have been in a highly vulnerable state, allegedly under the influence of drugs, without shoes, wallet, or phone. Such a situation could have made her an easy target for those looking to exploit vulnerable individuals, whether through trafficking or other forms of victimization. However, the central question remains: did Lily actually leave the condo on her own that night? The story of her walking out without shoes and personal belongings, but allegedly taking bungee cords, has never sat right with investigators or her family. The inconsistencies in Christian's story, his failed polygraph tests, and his questionable behavior following Lily's disappearance all cast doubt on his account of events. Throughout this ordeal, Lucille has never given up hope of finding answers about what happened to her daughter. Her tireless efforts to keep pressure on the police and to maintain public awareness of Lily's case demonstrate the depth of a mother's love and determination. Whether Lily is still alive remains unknown, but for Lucille, the most important thing is to uncover the truth about what happened to her daughter so she can finally have closure. The case of Lily Aramburo serves as a stark reminder of the importance of thorough and timely investigations in missing persons cases. It raises questions about how cases involving individuals with a history of substance abuse are prioritized and handled by law enforcement. The initial delays and oversights in Lily's case potentially allowed crucial evidence to be lost and gave any potential perpetrators ample time to cover their tracks. Moreover, this case highlights the critical role that media attention and public awareness can play in keeping a case active. The article that exposed the shortcomings in the initial investigation was instrumental in spurring renewed efforts to find Lily. Similarly, the social media campaign launched by Janet helped to keep Lily's story in the public eye, demonstrating the power of grassroots efforts in advocating for justice. The involvement of private investigators and the eventual interest of Detective Holdley also underscore the impact that dedicated individuals can have on a case. Their willingness to revisit old evidence, question assumptions, and pursue new leads brought fresh momentum to the investigation, even years after Lily's disappearance. However, the case also reveals the limitations of even the most dedicated efforts when crucial time has been lost. The failure to properly record and communicate the results of Christian's initial polygraph test is a glaring example of how simple mistakes or oversights can have far-reaching consequences in an investigation. As the years have passed, the challenge of solving Lily's case has only grown. Physical evidence degrades, memories fade, and witnesses become harder to locate or may pass away. However, advancements in forensic technology and investigative techniques offer some hope. Cold cases are sometimes solved decades after the fact, often due to new DNA analysis methods or the discovery of previously overlooked evidence. The story of Lily Aramburo also touches on broader societal issues. Her struggles with substance abuse and mental health highlight the vulnerabilities that individuals facing these challenges often experience. The ease with which she seemed to fall through the cracks both before and after her disappearance points to gaps in social support systems and mental health services. Furthermore, the case raises questions about domestic relationships and the challenges law enforcement faces in navigating complex personal dynamics. The volatile nature of Lily and Christian's relationship, marked by frequent arguments and police interventions, illustrates the difficulties in distinguishing between typical relationship conflicts and potentially dangerous situations. The presence of other individuals in the condo on the night of Lily's disappearance adds another layer of complexity to the case. If something nefarious did occur, it seems unlikely that it would have happened with two potential witnesses present. This fact has led some to question whether E.J. and Kelly might know more than they've revealed, or if they too might have been involved in whatever transpired that night. The case also sheds light on the challenges faced by law enforcement in dealing with cases involving individuals with a history of drug use. There can sometimes be a tendency to assign less urgency to such cases, assuming that the missing person may have simply gone on a drug binge or chosen to disappear voluntarily. However, Lily's case demonstrates the danger of making such assumptions, as they can lead to critical delays in investigation and potentially put vulnerable individuals at greater risk. The impact of Lily's disappearance extends far beyond her immediate family. Her young son, left in the care of his grandmother, has grown up without knowing his mother. The uncertainty surrounding Lily's fate has left a void in the lives of her friends and loved ones, a constant source of pain and unanswered questions. For the wider community, Lily's case serves as a sobering reminder of the vulnerabilities that exist in our society and the ease with which a person can seemingly vanish without a trace. It underscores the importance of community vigilance and the need for robust support systems for individuals struggling with substance abuse and mental health issues. The role of the media in missing persons cases is also brought into sharp focus by Lily's story. The initial lack of media coverage potentially hampered early efforts to locate her, while the later exposé on the mishandling of the investigation proved crucial in reinvigorating the search. This disparity raises questions about which missing persons cases receive media attention and why, highlighting potential biases in coverage based on factors such as race, socioeconomic status, or personal history. As time passes, the risk of Lily's case fading from public memory grows. However, the continued efforts of her mother, Lucille, serve as a powerful reminder of the enduring nature of a parent's love and the relentless pursuit of truth. Lucille's actions, from her initial searches to her public hunger strike, demonstrate the lengths to which families of missing persons will go to keep their loved ones' cases alive. The involvement of Detective Holdley years after Lily's initial disappearance offers a glimmer of hope that dedicated law enforcement professionals can make a difference even in long cold cases. His willingness to start from scratch, questioning every assumption and re-examining all available evidence, sets a standard for how cold cases should be approached. However, the fact that even with renewed efforts and the discovery of inconsistencies in Christian's story, the case remains unsolved is a testament to the challenges inherent in investigating long cold cases. The passage of time inevitably makes the gathering of evidence and the corroboration of testimonies more difficult. The case of Lily Aramburo also raises important questions about the resources allocated to missing persons cases, particularly those involving individuals from marginalized communities or with complicated personal histories. It highlights the need for standardized protocols in handling such cases to ensure that crucial steps are not missed in the critical early hours and days of an investigation. As we reflect on Lily's story, it's important to consider the broader implications for how society handles missing persons cases, particularly those involving vulnerable individuals. Some key points to consider include the need for immediate and thorough action in all missing persons cases, regardless of the individual's background or personal history. The importance of proper training for law enforcement in handling cases involving individuals with substance abuse or mental health issues. The critical role of accurate record-keeping and communication within law enforcement agencies to prevent crucial information from being overlooked or misreported. The potential benefits of involving specialized cold case units or outside experts in long unsolved cases to bring fresh perspectives and expertise. The power of media coverage and public awareness in keeping cases active and generating new leads. The need for better support systems for individuals struggling with substance abuse and mental health issues to prevent vulnerable people from falling through the cracks. The importance of community involvement and vigilance in reporting suspicious activities and supporting families of missing persons. As of now, the whereabouts of Lily Aramburo remain unknown. Her case serves as a haunting reminder of the many unsolved disappearances that continue to perplex law enforcement and torment families across the country. It underscores the need for continued dedication to solving cold cases and the importance of never giving up hope. For Lucille, the search for answers about her daughter's fate continues. Her unwavering determination to uncover the truth about what happened to Lily is a powerful testament to the enduring strength of maternal love. It also serves as a call to action for law enforcement, media, and the public to remain vigilant and committed to resolving long unsolved cases. The story of Lily Aramburo is more than just a missing persons case. It's a narrative that touches on issues of substance abuse, mental health, domestic relationships, law enforcement procedures, media responsibility, and societal attitudes towards marginalized individuals. It challenges us to question our assumptions, to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves, and to remember that behind every statistic is a human being with a story, a family, and a life that mattered. As we conclude this examination of Lily's case, we're left with more questions than answers. The mystery of what happened on that fateful night in June 2007 remains unsolved. But in sharing Lily's story, in keeping her memory alive, we contribute to the ongoing effort to find truth and justice. We affirm the value of every life and the importance of never giving up on those who have vanished. Lily Aramburo's disappearance serves as a sobering reminder of the work that remains to be done in how we handle missing persons cases, support vulnerable individuals, and pursue justice even when trails have long since gone cold. It challenges us to do better, to care more, and to never forget those who are still missing. In the end, the hope remains that one day, through continued effort, advancements in forensic science, or perhaps a long-awaited confession, the full truth of what happened to Lily Aramburo will come to light. Until that day, her story continues to call for justice, serving as a catalyst for change in how we approach and resolve missing persons cases. In the end, the hope remains that one day, through continued effort, advancements in forensic science, or perhaps a long-awaited confession, the full truth of what happened to Lily Aramburo will come to light. Until that day, her story continues to call for justice, serving as a catalyst for change in how we approach and resolve missing persons cases. The case of Lily Aramburo also highlights the importance of continued training and education for law enforcement officers in handling complex cases involving substance abuse and mental health issues. The initial response to Lily's disappearance, colored by her history of drug use and previous brief absences, may have contributed to crucial delays in the investigation. This underscores the need for a more nuanced understanding of the vulnerabilities faced by individuals struggling with addiction and mental health challenges. Moreover, Lily's case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of thorough and accurate record-keeping in law enforcement agencies. The misreporting of Christian's polygraph results is a glaring example of how simple administrative errors can have far-reaching consequences in an investigation. This incident calls for a review of protocols for recording and communicating critical information within and between law enforcement agencies. The role of technology in both hindering and potentially solving cold cases is another aspect brought to light by Lily's disappearance. In 2007, social media was still in its infancy, and the power of online communities in spreading awareness about missing persons was not yet fully realized. Today, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram play crucial roles in disseminating information quickly and widely. The question arises, how might Lily's case have unfolded differently if it had occurred in today's hyper-connected world? At the same time, advancements in forensic technology offer new hope for solving cold cases like Lily's. Techniques such as genetic genealogy, which have led to breakthroughs in other long unsolved cases, could potentially be applied here if DNA evidence is available. The continuous evolution of forensic science means that evidence collected years ago might yield new clues when re-examined with modern techniques. The case also raises important questions about the intersection of domestic violence, substance abuse, and missing persons investigations. While there's no direct evidence of physical abuse in Lily and Christian's relationship, the volatile nature of their interactions, as evidenced by frequent police calls to their residence, suggests a potentially unhealthy dynamic. This highlights the need for better integration between domestic violence prevention services, substance abuse treatment programs, and law enforcement agencies. Furthermore, Lily's story underscores the often overlooked impact of missing persons cases on the wider family unit. Lily's young son, left in the care of his grandmother, has grown up without knowing his mother. The long-term psychological effects on children of missing parents are profound and often underaddressed in the broader conversation about missing persons. This aspect of Lily's case calls for greater attention to the support services available for families, particularly children, affected by the long-term disappearance of a loved one. The media's role in missing persons cases is another critical aspect highlighted by Lily's disappearance. The initial lack of media coverage potentially hampered early efforts to locate her, while the later exposé proved crucial in reinvigorating the investigation. This disparity in coverage raises questions about which cases receive media attention and why. It calls for a more equitable approach to reporting on missing persons, ensuring that all cases, regardless of the individual's background or circumstances, receive appropriate attention. The involvement of private investigators in Lily's case also brings to light the potential benefits and limitations of non-law enforcement professionals in missing persons investigations. While private investigators can often dedicate more time and resources to a single case than overwhelmed police departments, their lack of official authority can limit their effectiveness. This raises questions about how best to integrate the efforts of private investigators with official law enforcement investigations. Lily's case also serves as a reminder of the importance of community involvement in missing persons cases. The actions of her mother, Lucille, and her friend Janet in organizing searches, conducting a hunger strike, and maintaining a social media presence demonstrate the crucial role that community members can play in keeping a case alive. Their efforts underscore the need for better support systems and resources for families of missing persons who often bear the burden of maintaining public awareness about their loved ones' cases. The long-term nature of Lily's disappearance also highlights the need for specialized cold case units within law enforcement agencies. Detective Holdley's involvement years after the initial disappearance demonstrates the value of fresh eyes and dedicated resources in reinvigorating stalled investigations. However, it also raises questions about how to best allocate limited law enforcement resources between new and cold cases. The international dimension of Lily's case, given her family's connections to other countries, also brings attention to the challenges of cross-border investigations in missing persons cases. It raises questions about how law enforcement agencies in different countries cooperate and share information in such cases, and whether there are opportunities for improving these international collaborations. As time passes, the risk of Lily's case fading from public memory grows. However, her story serves as a powerful reminder of the countless missing persons cases that remain unsolved across the country and around the world. It challenges us to consider how we as a society can better support the families of the missing, improve our investigative processes, and maintain hope even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The psychological impact on the investigators involved in long-term missing persons cases like Lily's is another aspect worth considering. The emotional toll of working on cases that remain unsolved for years can be significant. This underscores the need for adequate support systems for law enforcement professionals dealing with these challenging and often heartbreaking cases. Lily's disappearance also raises questions about the effectiveness of rehabilitation programs for individuals struggling with substance abuse. Her relapse shortly before her disappearance highlights the challenges of maintaining long-term recovery and the potential dangers faced by individuals in the early stages of sobriety. This aspect of her story calls for a reevaluation of how we support individuals in recovery, particularly in the crucial period immediately following treatment. The case also brings attention to the unique vulnerabilities faced by young mothers, particularly those dealing with substance abuse issues. Lily's struggle to maintain custody of her son while battling addiction highlights the complex interplay between parental rights, child welfare, and substance abuse treatment. It raises questions about how society can better support mothers in similar situations, balancing the needs of the parent with the well-being of the child. As we reflect on Lily's case, it's crucial to consider the broader societal issues it illuminates. The intersection of substance abuse, mental health, domestic relationships, and law enforcement response in her story provides a microcosm of challenges faced by communities across the country. It calls for a more integrated approach to addressing these interconnected issues, breaking down silos between different social services and law enforcement agencies. The role of forensic psychology in cold cases like Lily's is another area worthy of exploration. Behavioral analysis and psychological profiling could potentially offer new insights into the circumstances of her disappearance, helping to narrow down possibilities and guide future investigative efforts. The potential for new witnesses or individuals with information to come forward, even years after a disappearance, remains a source of hope in cases like Lily's. Changes in relationships, personal circumstances, or simply the passage of time can sometimes lead people to share information they previously withheld. This underscores the importance of maintaining open lines of communication and regularly revisiting cold cases. The impact of unresolved missing persons cases on public safety is another consideration raised by Lily's disappearance. If foul play was involved in her case and the perpetrator was never caught, there's a possibility that other individuals could be at risk. This highlights the broader public safety implications of solving cold cases and bringing closure to families of the missing. As we conclude our examination of Lily Aramburo's case, we're left with a mix of emotions: sadness for the loss of a young mother, frustration at the lack of resolution, and hope that someday the truth will come to light. Her story serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost of unsolved disappearances and the enduring impact they have on families and communities. Lily's case challenges us to do better as individuals, as communities, and as a society. It calls on us to remain vigilant, to support the families of the missing, and to never give up hope. It reminds us that behind every missing person statistic is a human story, a life interrupted, and a family left waiting for answers. As we move forward, let Lily's story serve as a catalyst for change. Let it inspire improvements in how we handle missing persons cases, how we support vulnerable individuals, and how we pursue justice even when trails have long since gone cold. And let it remind us of the power of perseverance, the importance of community, and the enduring strength of hope in the face of uncertainty. The search for Lily Aramburo continues. Her story is not over. As long as there are those who remember her, who continue to ask questions and seek answers, there remains the possibility that one day, the truth of what happened on that June night in 2007 will finally come to light. Until then, we honor Lily's memory by sharing her story, by learning from the shortcomings in her case, and by working towards a world where no one vanishes without a trace, where every missing person is searched for with equal vigor, and where no family is left without answers. In remembering Lily, we affirm the value of every life and the importance of never giving up on those who have disappeared. Her story, though unfinished, continues to speak to us, challenging us to be better. to care more deeply, and to hold on to hope even in the darkest of circumstances. May Lily's memory continue to inspire action, foster change, and someday lead us to the truth.